Hello, and welcome back to lesson number 4. Now, today's lesson, in terms of the video, is going to be quite short because I would like you to spend some time reviewing the information that I have included in the lesson 4 worksheet, and also to give you some time to think about what you're going to do next week. Now, it looks like that most people are available in Friday afternoon. So what I'm going to do is book a room between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. and for you to attend at a time that is convenient for you. Now, unfortunately, we only have 3 members of the class, which means that there are not enough people to do any kind of practice lesson or to have students do preparation work. So what I would like you to do is, and I will confirm this by sending an announcement out through Moodle, is to attend during that time. So between 1 and 4 p.m. on next Friday, which I need to check, excuse me, and check the date on that. So that would be November the 4th. So between 1 and 4 p.m. and I will send out an announcement of the location, but it will be a classroom in center zone. This will be the first chance for me to meet you, obviously face to face, and also a chance for me to discuss with you various parts of the course, review the work that you have already submitted, and talk about where we're going to go in our future lessons. So the lesson 4 document that I've shared with you includes actual examples of lesson activities that will be used in the classes next year. And there is a specific format that has been chosen for the way that these activities break down. So I've included a little bit of the assessment of what students are going to be assessed on. The most important thing for you as teaching assistants is the class participation 10% here, because the participation in class is going to be partly your responsibility to help them and guide them through the various activities. So what I've included here is the reason it says 1.4 is this is taken directly from a working paper that we have with the university explaining the program that we are attempting to put together. And 2 of our professors, Professor Vita and Professor O'Dwyer, put together 3 sample activities for model lessons using textbook activities that would be used in week 11. And last week in our shared document, I showed you the topics that would be covered. There are some things that I'd like you to consider as we go through this document, particularly the importance that is being put on the role of teaching assistants in this course. So when reading this plan, consider that TESOL trained TFTAs serve 2 vital roles. And the reason why we have to keep this in mind is because one of the reasons, or one of the main reasons for doing this course, is to encourage you and infuse you and give you more confidence to join in and volunteer to be part of this course in particular. Because what's going to happen is the classrooms are going to be separated. So taking a class of 50 to 60 students, separating it into 25 to 30 students, the teacher goes in one room, the TA goes in the other, and then at some point you switch around. You're not responsible for grading the students in any way. You're not responsible for doing anything more than making sure the activity works. So that's why the activity has become such an important part of this part of the course. So what I have included in this document are 3 examples of activities for what students do. And I'll just go through to the end to let you know the course activity 7 that I'm going to ask you to prepare before next Friday. The 3 sample activities that are included in this document have 4 basic components to them: the flipped aspect, the pre-task, the discussion task, and the post-task. Now, what does this mean? So as I said before, this course is going to work on several important principles, and one of them is the flipped principle. And so I'm just going to put that into inverted commas just to make it clear that this is an important part. The idea behind flipped is that the students do the reading and the listening before they come to class. They do the activities from the textbook, they watch videos, they do the listening, they do the reading before they come to class. So they are prepared for what's going to happen in the classroom. This is the idea of flipped. So instead of having students do writing, speaking, production-based work for their homework, and then doing the guided listening and reading in class, the listening and reading happens outside class, the production happens inside class. And that's where your role as a teaching assistant and as someone who helps guide the activities becomes very important. So what we're going to do is just go through the first task together, and then I'm going to ask you, as part of the lesson activities, to read the other 2 activities, and then as your homework preparation for next Friday, to prepare those 4 elements of it. From the very beginning, I want to make it clear, I really liked the work that some of you have already provided for classroom activities based on a text that you found for week number 3. So if you want to use that text and basically kind of expand it, expand the activity, or break it down into those 4 aspects, so the flipped, the pre, the discussion, and the post, please feel free to do so. So you can use the same text if you want to. So activity A, flipped activity based on textbook homework. So what the students are going to be asked to do, assigned for homework, to look at the vocabulary, page 86, reading skills, 84 to 85, information report, 80 to 83, and then watch the video on the topic of Australia's Bondi Beach. So that's a lot of textbook work. We're talking about like 5-6 pages plus a video, maybe somewhere between 60 to 90 minutes of preparation work. But the students are expected to arrive in class with that done. Pre-task, the students will, in pairs, review their answers to the textbook homework comprehension and just share them between each other. It's kind of a warm-up just to remind each other what they've done. Maybe they did their homework a few days before, they've kind of forgotten the topic. So just to kind of warm up and remind them of the things that they've done. Then we've got this here. The teacher and TFTA split the room into thirds and closely monitor each third to ensure that the students are on task. So like I say, you're not going to be in charge of grading students, but just to keep a direct eye on them, give them any assistance, answer any questions that they have. Discussion task. The students are placed into groups of 3 and they use their notes from the pre-task sessions to address the following questions. Which homework activities were easy? Which homework activities were difficult? Of the vocabulary words, which ones would be useful? So this goes back to some of the tasks that I've asked you to look at specifically in lesson 2 to understand how vocabulary are important primers for good discussion activities based off reading preparation. And then there's a PowerPoint slide. Once again, the room is split. We get some feedback. This is important on a flipped classroom because we need to know whether activities are working or not. Once again, the students have watched the video. The pre-task is a brainstorming activity, making beaches safer. The discussion list task is to one person in the group serving in the role of a scribe. So what this means is oftentimes in groups, you want a person to be the manager, you want someone to be the writer, you want someone to be the person who gives positive responses, you want someone to be the person who gives negative responses. So you give roles, different roles to students in a group to kind of encourage them to give different ideas than they might already have. And then the post-task, students go back into pairs, decide which ideas they discussed in their groups were the best and the worst. And as it says here, free format, 3 minutes. What are the best? What are the worst? And we're always asking the question, why? Why would this be the best thing why would this be the best? Why is it the worst? Is it the best because it's easier to do? Is it the best because it's most fun? Is it the worst because they didn't have the vocabulary? Is it the worst because it's a boring topic? So they can come up with their own ideas for that as well. So I've also included other activities that have been recommended by the Professors Vita and Professor O'Dwyer, just to show you basically how we come up with course plans based on textbook activities, specifically when we're trying to aim for a certain type of activity, in this case, the flip. So where the students do the preparation, listening, reading before the class, and then do the discussion and group work in the class. So this is the work that I would like you to do this week. First of all, go through all of the activities that are included in our shared document here. Make sure that you kind of become familiar with the types of activities. Always ask yourself why. If you don't know why we're doing the kind of thing, have a think about it, and we can talk about it in our face-to-face meeting next week. If there's anything about the way that we are planning this course that you don't understand or is not completely clear, please ask, because we're always here to try and help you out with that, make you feel more confident. Then the course activity I would like you to do is to put together a class activity plan. Choose a text. You can use the text you used for your homework last week, or you can use a text, a completely new text that you have found that you think would be interesting. I want to know, what is the flipped aspect? What are the students supposed to do before the class? So are they supposed to listen to a certain text or a video or a YouTube video or something that you found on the topic? Do they have to read a journal article? Do they have to read a news article, newspaper? What is it? What is the material that we have to look at before the class? Then, what is the pre-task? So the pre-task is usually a low-level, low-stakes review of the flipped activity. So when they get in class, 2 or 3 minutes talking in a pair or in a group, what do you remember? What do you think about? What do you know about the topic that we've looked at? Then the discussion task. So this is the meat of the class. What is it that you want the students to talk about? What are the discussion questions? What kind of activities do they have to do? Do they have to make notes? Do they have to draw a chart? Do they have to brainstorm? Do they have to prepare something that they're going to share with other members of the class? For example, some list or some chart or a brainstorm that we're going to put it on the board. You're going to give students in each group a piece of chalk and ask them to come up and draw a diagram or an image or something that matches what they're talking about. So what's the main activity that you're going to ask students to do? And then finally, the post-task, kind of like what we call the warm down. The pre-task is the warm up, but the post-task is the warm down. And again, usually it's kind of reflective questions. What was difficult? What did you enjoy? Or if there are any other things that you want to ask them, perhaps, what are you going to do next? Is this something you're interested in? Something like that. So the pre-task is the warm-up. How do we kind of get their ideas moving? The post-task is the warm down. How are they going to try and remember this as they move forward into the future? Okay, so I'm going to post this video very soon. It's a shorter video than usual, but I want you to spend your time reading the contents of this lesson plan, because these are very good examples of how we, when looking at textbooks and looking at course plans and methodology, how we plan activities. So these are things that can probably help you in your planning as well. I will send an announcement through Moodle once I have booked a space. It will be between 1 and 4 p.m. next Friday afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you, discussing with you your work so far, and planning what we're going to do next with the course. Thank you very much.